What's going on, everybody? My name is David. Today, I had a great trade, 1 for 1. It was a dub while trading SPY options. So I'm going to be discussing that trade that I took, why I took it, and then also looking ahead to tomorrow's trading day, Tuesday, April 11th, because the market did leave us some clues. So let's get right into it. So during today's trading day, I did not start trading till about 8 a.m. And the reason was because I could not wake up for the market today. It was brutal. I had a lot going on this weekend. I went to go watch that new movie Air last night, and I was just very tired. So unfortunately, I slept through the pre-market and the opening hour. But nevertheless, I still was prepared to take a trade based on the zones that I had charted the day before and the week before, rather. So I have this demand zone charted here, and I have this control zone and then the supply zone up here right around 411 to 412 and a half. Now, before today's trading day, this is where we were at, right? We closed right around here, right around 409 on Friday. Now, before even seeing pre-market, because I did my charting yesterday, and I did not know what was going to happen pre-market. It looks like we clearly gapped down pre-market where we opened right around 406. But before that, I had anticipated this supply zone up here, demand zone down here. Of course, we've seen the test of this demand area at 406 for the past 2 trading days. So there's clear demand there. We were in this control zone where we weren't necessarily rejecting this area, but we were hovering right around the middle of this control zone for the most part through the past couple days, trading days and weeks. The last time we tested about 412 pre-market, we immediately sold off, sold down into this little control zone that I charted here, broke it, but then bounced right back into this little middle control zone area where buyers and sellers have accepted this price as a middle range, as a midpoint, if you will, and have dropped down to this demand zone right around 406 and have bought it up as well. And so today I was looking for three possible structures. Typically with SPY, with the market and with any stock, we can have a buying day, we can have a selling day, and we can have what I call a ranging day, meaning buyers and sellers are bouncing back and forth. No clear buying channel, no clear selling channel. It is not clear who is in control, whether buyers or sellers. We're simply, trading off of a high, off of a low. A ranging market is what it's known as. And so I drew up 3 scenarios before it even happened, of course. So if you see this red, and I'm leaving this crap here so you can see my charting even before the pre-market. But there was 3 possible scenarios I was anticipating, of course. And it was really all dependent on, a lot of it was dependent on how we did pre-market, whether we sold off, whether we gapped up. Clearly we gapped down, but nonetheless, this red arrow pointing down was me anticipating, hey, if we open right around where we closed at 409, it's possible that we could see some selling pressure downward and bring us down to 405 to come test this demand zone area, right? We gapped down, and we didn't need to see the selling at market open. The sellers sold off pre-market and gapped us down. And so at open, we were already in this demand zone. So it was important for, sellers to try to break through this area, and clearly buyers were not having it and immediately bought up and created this buying channel. Going back to the other scenario I had charted was, if we do open right around 409, then we may be looking to see if buyers will buy up the price all the way to come test the supply zone at around 411 through 412, with, of course, having to break some key areas like at 409, 410, where we kind of closed at. But nevertheless, of course, we gapped down, so that did not happen. And so immediately we had buying come in. But this buying channel was a controlled buying channel because we had a gap down. So sellers were still in control up until this point here. And I drew this cup and handle that helped me take this trade, and I'll talk about that. But I was not convinced. As soon as I woke up and was able to see what's going on, and I'm like, dang, I missed this buying channel here. But, if you were able to take some trades or take some wins here, great. If not, it wasn't anything crazy that you missed out on up until we finally bounced off of the demand zone to maybe the fourth time, if you will. But when we were up here is when I woke up, and you can see these drawings that I had already started doing, and I was preparing for possibilities, whether we were going up, maybe going down. And I wasn't totally sold on the fact that we were going to break through at this point. And the reason being was because, again, we had this bear flag where sellers got down here to 405. And I was looking to see if sellers can rebuild some strength to come back and retest at least the demand zone before leaving one more time. And of course, the bear flag broke out. It played all the way down to 406, but buyers immediately bought up the price at this area, at this demand zone. And this is where I immediately prepared to get in. And the reason being was because sellers got rejected. Buyers were clearly in control. Buyers were in control in this controlled buying. But even after this selling came in and buyers immediately bought it up, I seen the buyers come in and protect the area and not allow the sellers to go even further down. And so at this point, after creating a new high here, I knew, not that I knew, but I wanted to get there. So I ended up taking this trade right around here. I took calls, and I took 408 calls here. So we were probably around near 407 at this point. Or actually, I took it right here exactly because I charted this 0.95 range where it's about 1 point that I wanted to extract out of the market if my trade was validated. So I took calls here. My stops were right around here, around 406.70. So I was really risking about, let's see here, about 0.15. So I would say about $8 per contract, $9 per contract to be invalidated while trying to take the high of the day out. And that's exactly what I did. Ended up selling actually right around here. So I ended up taking more than a point, basically a point and some change. So I was able to extract a good amount of profits with that trade. I would have held on to this trade, but I did buy 408 calls, and they were very cheap. I think it was about 25 cents per contract. So I was really looking to just get in and get out with a quick reaction because of the fact that the calls that I took were out of the money. Of course, when I seen the buyers come in, I did anticipate that we would come back into this control zone eventually, especially after gapping down. We had all of this to come back to. And that was probably what I should have done, is held on. But I didn't have too much time to watch this trade. And on top of that, like I mentioned, my calls were out of the money. And I want, when you are buying calls or puts out of the money, even if it's not so much, you're going to want to take what you get, what the market gives you, much more quickly than if you were buying, options at the money. And so I'm very happy with this trade that I took. It was all off of demand, back to the control zone. And I think if we had more time, we were definitely coming up to test this supply zone. And that's where we are preparing for tomorrow. What happens? Do we open right around this price? Do we come back into this little control zone? If we do, is this control zone protected? And do we use this as a runway to come test the supply zone up here? That's what I anticipate. When I drew these yellow lines the night before yesterday, that's what I was expecting. If buyers are going to come up here, they're going to come up off of here and come test supply. Now, clearly, when I drew this red arrow, I wasn't expecting for us to gap all the way down, and we did. And I drew two other red arrows, as you can see. The idea was that if we got to this demand zone, if strong buying came in and buyers defended this area, then this arrow indicated that we would come to this control zone. That's what happened today. Otherwise, we were probably going to sell down and come test lower lows that we haven't seen in a couple days. Otherwise, if we did come to the supply zone, then we will be looking to break the supply zone and possibly approach 417 by end of week, just depending on how all the news unfolds with everything coming out, the reports and bank information, bank data, all that good stuff. What might happen next is really dependent on a lot of that information that's to come out in the market or in the news. So that way the market figures out what it wants to do. But I also drew that yellow arrow breaking out or testing the supply zone and coming back, and we see selling maybe bring us back to the control zone. And that's where we are at again. Can we get up here? If we do get up here at around 412, come test the high of the past week and a half, what happens? Do we break through? Do we see sellers come in and defend the area? And therefore, I like calls here up to our supply zone. If we get to the supply zone, I'm not convinced that I want to take puts right away. I want to see what happens, of course, and where the structure unfolds for a possible breakout play. Possible bull flag here breaking us out of the supply zone. If not, if we see weakness, then possibly bring us back into this ranging area anywhere from 409 to 412. If we do form this bull flag, we have this breakout. I'm looking for another retest of the top of the supply zone, and then for this area to hold support and bring us up to 415 and so on and so forth. But if we have bearish sentiment overnight pre-market, this control zone is key. Again, this demand zone is not out of question, but this more or less is the ranging area that we are, or not ranging area, but this is the range we're looking at, right? For sure, 405 to about 412 for now, and that's looking to be extended by the bulls who seem to be in control. Based on how we opened today and ended and closed today's market. So again, control zone from 408 to about 409 and a half, supply zone from 411 to about 412, demand zone about 405 to 406. But based on the bullish sentiment, this control zone could very well serve as a demand/support zone to get us up to test the supply zone area. And from there, a possible breakout structure can very well form to get us back into the 417 territory that we were at last FOMC meeting. So again, we are right around here. What am I talking about? I'm way off. We are right around here looking to come test the supply zone. Let's see. Last time we were up here at 417 was around February time. We finally had broken through to 418 back in early February. So it looks to be retested again, forming this huge cup to try to come test this 418 area and hopefully break through based on the next FOMC data. So we'll have to see what goes on here. Nevertheless, always opportunities in the market every single day. All right, that's my analysis for today. I'm looking forward to taking these beautiful trades tomorrow. Y'all have a good day. Peace.